Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Barikoff. Sit down, get your coffee. It's Saturday morning, Coach. I know you just ran and got your coffee. My wife and I just went and got ours. Get your coffee, get your popcorn, because we have a hell of a lot to talk about today, right?
Yeah, it sure seems to be. I mean, it's nothing is easy right now for the Dodgers. It's when it rains, it pours, man. It's crazy.
No doubt about that. So the Dodgers lose last night 3-1 to move to 84-57 on the season. The lead is down to 4 games against the Padres. That's back in that danger territory, especially considering that the Dodgers do not have the tiebreaker against San Diego. 5.5 on the D-backs. It looks like the D-backs are a little bit less of a threat than San Diego. We mentioned that the other day. Bottom line is, Coach, hey, we're going to talk about all the decisions made, everything that happened in the game last night. Bottom line is you only get 6 hits, and of those, 5 of them came from your big 3. And when your big 3, ShoheiOhtani, MookieBetts, and Freddie, are the only ones hitting, it leaves this team with no margin for error.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good when your TO goes down. I mean, it looked like the Dodgers kind of took a big hit to the gut. You got to have what the Dodgers have been doing so well is the bottom half of the lineup has been hitting, and it's not doing that right now. And this is scary territory because the Padres are hot. Like, it's the one team I wouldn't want to see, and they're playing well. And so big decisions coming up. I'm interested to see what the Dodgers are going to do. Yeah,
I sense a little bit. Just, of course, it's Saturday morning, and it is what it is. But kind of down this morning, Coach. I think the Teo thing's got you down a little bit.
Listen, man, the Gavin Stone thing was the one thing I'm like, okay. Yeah, but now right. Teo, it's like, what else could go? It kind of reminded me of that, what was it, a couple of years ago when Muncy at first base hurt his arm. It's like, I don't want to think it's that bad, but it's interesting to see a guy not be able to finish off a game by getting hit in the foot, which where it got hit is there's a lot of little bones right there. So it concerns me. So it's 9 o'clock here. I mowed yesterday. I got allergies. I've got my coffee, but no, I'm ready. I still believe it's only 4. It's 4 games, Case. We're okay.
Absolutely. And you're probably going to get a whole lot of pitching back. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who you got to see with your own eyes as the pitch clock keeper the other day for Triple Oklahoma City is coming back. What'd you see with Yamamoto?
Oh, man, we talked about it the other night. Like, he is what he is. He's a stud. And, I think the big thing was he threw 4 total innings down for Oklahoma City. And as an untrained eye, that's interesting to me that he only threw 2 and 2. But again, in his press conference with Lisa the other night, he said, it doesn't look good, but I felt good, and I'll talk to the organization and see what they say. So in my mind, it's like all along they knew he was going to come up for this start. And I think if there's going to be any anticipation, there's going to be a lot of us on the edge of our seat to see his start. Was it Tuesday night? Because if he comes back anything like he looked before he left, we're in really good shape. It takes the blow of this Gavin Stone thing a little bit. It takes it off a little bit.
I'll tell you another thing that takes the blow off of that is the performance of Landon Knack last night. He was simply fantastic. We'll get into him a little bit more, but hey, Teo goes down, Coach, and I wanted to get into this conversation with you because you get to see this young man every single day. I understand that nobody's higher on DaltonRushing than I am here with Dodgers Daily. I've said many times him and Edgardo Henriquez are probably my most untouchable prospects in the organization. And I said that back before they moved DaltonRushing away from catcher and it looked like he was blocked. So nobody's higher on DaltonRushing than I am. But I tell you, the guy who's probably earned the promotion the most, in my opinion, would be Ryan Ward. Ryan Ward, old Wardo, he has 30 home runs on the year. He's hitting .266. He's always been a guy who's had a good combination between power. He's always been up there at the top of the home run list as far as the entire system, certainly the minor league system. And other than maybe a couple of injuries, he's also shown that he can hit the 260, 270, 280 as well. I think this would be a good chance. He's going to be Rule 5 eligible, so you're going to lose him if you don't put him on the 40-man anyways. I think this would be a good chance to sneak him in there.
I like Ryan Ward, but let's go back to DaltonRushing. They've been playing him in left field very consistently down here in Oklahoma City. And that's like a weird thing to me now that Teo gets hurt, supposedly. I mean, I hope he comes back. I mean, the X-rays were all great. It might be just now how he feels. But rushing, they've been playing him in left field. What's been the point of putting him in left field when he's a catcher? He looks okay out there. I mean, I've seen him make good plays, and I've seen him take terrible lines on plays. This is an interesting one, Case. Ryan Ward, you are going to lose him. My personal thing, I don't see them moving him up.
Sure.
You've put DaltonRushing in the left this whole time. This is the time. You're either going to move Rushing up and fast track him, or you're going to sit back and you can move the outfield around, and you've got Pages up right now. I know you want to talk about my guy CT3. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting discussion. Now, I would love to see Ryan Ward come up just because you and I get to see him personally all the time, and he's a great dude. But, yeah, these are some big, interesting moves that are going to be made because we're right at the end of this thing, Case.
Man, I just don't know the left field thing with DaltonRushing. I mean, that just in this pressure cooker with the Dodgers fans, hey, they want all the shiny new toy, which is great. Everybody does. We all want that. I am in that category. When I say Dodgers fans, I don't mean that condescending at all. I put myself in that category. Yeah. We're all that way. When I'm on this show, I am not a coach. I'm a fan. I'm a Dodgers fan. Does that make sense? So I'm in that category. I just saw what happened to Gavin Lux when they tried to move him to the outfield to get his bat in the lineup. I saw the amount of criticism. Well, it was going all the way through to June this year. I mean, I just worry that he's going to misplay a ball in left field because he just is, because that's where he's at in his development as a left fielder. And Dodgers fans are going to lose their mind, and it's just not going to be that worries me to death. Am I being too much of a coach there, or what's going on there?
No, and that's been my biggest thing with Dodger fans. We all love our prospects, and then they come up and they don't play like we think, and it's send them back down. Why'd we bring them up? We can't have it both ways. If we want them up, we got to be able to be patient and understand they're going to make mistakes, or we got to stop asking for them to bring these guys up and stick with what we have. You can't have it both ways, and you're right. Eighth inning and a misplayed ball. We're up Dodgers are up 2-1, and Rushing misplays the ball. I've seen him misplay balls in left, and it has nothing to do with other than he's not a left fielder.
Correct. He's learning. That
is a concern to me. And you know, he started off really hot here in Oklahoma City. He's kind of tailed off a little bit. I mean, if I've read it right, he was hitting 289 now.
Right.
So we throw him into major league pitching, and he doesn't hit.
And he's playing left field.
And he's playing left field because you're not going to play him at catcher where you got Barnes and Will Smith there. So, yeah, Gates, this is an interesting – this Teo thing, you're right. I'm a little down in the dumps because he brings so much energy. I'm a little bummed out. Like when I saw him get hit last night, my wife and I looked at each other, she was walking out of the room, and she goes, "That wasn't Teo, was it?" And I'm like, "Yep." So that's kind of where I'm at, and I think a lot of Dodger fans are right now.
Yeah, not to say the Dodgers believe in DaltonRushing to bring him up, and they think he's ready to play left field in the pressure cooker that the LA Dodgers are right now. Like we say all the time, Coach, hey, we're all in. Yeah. But I totally trust the organization. I mentioned this in a tweet with Edgardo Henriquez. You have been all over this, Coach. I totally trust the Dodgers organization with these great prospects to move them at the pace that they feel like both helps them and the organization. So I just warn Dodgers fans, hey, it may happen. They may have called up DaltonRushing today or tomorrow, and he may go be the next Kirk Gibson. We all hope that happens. But I just warn Dodgers fans that it's not nearly as simple as to say, hey, he's our number one prospect. Go get that guy and put him in left field. Let's go. It's a more complicated process than that.
Yeah, and if you look at the schedule coming up, the Cubs are hot right now.
Yeah.
And then you got to go to Atlanta.
Yeah.
They have Florida, the Marlins, but I'm looking at the schedule, and the Rockies come into town. That would be the series to have DaltonRushing playing, would be the Rockies series, not the Cubs, Braves. And then you know who's looming right there. If you can get through that, you've got, I'm looking at it right here, San Diego comes into town. And if you don't think Chavez Ravine is going to be jam-packed and electric, let's just hope Teo's back. And you get backtrack to what you were saying. I believe in DaltonRushing. Like you and I tweet about this guy all the time. I love that guy. And I know the other guy on our show, Austin, loves this guy. But I've got to trust in what the Dodgers are doing, Case. So whatever they do, I'm all in.
I love DaltonRushing. I trust everything about him except for him playing left field. I just, in that pressure cooker, I just can't go there yet. And maybe I'm wrong. And maybe the organization proves me wrong and they do trust him. But we will see. Hey, let's go to the Landon Knack talk, Coach.
Yeah.
I've said on a couple of his other starts that, by the way, were good starts for L.A. There is a better version of Landon Knack out there. I'm just telling you. There's a better version of Landon Knack where he's pitching backwards in the strike zone more consistently, which when he does that, when he's pitching backwards in the strike zone, that's when he gets the chase. And when Landon Knack gets the chase like he did last night, he is a really, really good pitcher. I've said that over and over and over about him this year, and you saw it last night. Last night was the Landon Knack that I've been talking about all year. That's there. That is the Landon Knack that could show up every single time because he is that skilled.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to jump on Baseball Savant or whatever and look at all the numbers, but just my eye watching him last night, he looked like he was confident.
Yes.
He had confidence out of you know what. He was working fast.
Yes.
Other than the one home run that he gave up, he looked so good, and he looked like he was a good fit. I don't know if he makes the roster for the playoffs. Do you keep him as a starter? Do you use him as like a one inning guy? But he looked really, really good, and I was excited to see him because I've worked him on the pitch clock before, and he's a fun guy to watch pitch. And you're right. I mean, you've been raving about him all year, and it's fun to see it happen for him.
Coach, you can take a nap when you're on the pitch clock with Landon Knack because he doesn't get anywhere close to getting a pitch clock violation. No. I've asked him that question because I don't even look at the clock because I'm not anywhere close.
Yeah, it's click, 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 click. Yeah, he works fast.
Okay, yeah, Landon Knack, he was really good and very poised. And here's another thing about him is that, the Dodgers have all these high-riding four seams. They have all these guys that have all of these, power pitcher type tendencies. It's kind of a good, change up, if you will, to throw a guy that's all about execution. I mean, he's kind of like a right-handed version of Clayton Kershaw in the sense that he has to pitch. He has to pitch backwards. He has to move the ball. He has to locate. So not just is he skilled and he's able to execute. Landon will tell you he's all about execution. He's all about location, movement, all about that way more than he is velo. So I just think it's kind of a good change up between all the power pitchers the Dodgers have too, even in their bullpen. Yeah,
and I like his attitude. He just has like this. He looks like a Dodger pitcher. Like you talk about Kersh. I'm not comparing him, please. So don't think this is a comparison to a Hall of Famer. But he just has that look in his eye when he's pitching, like I belong here. I'm all about the Dodgers. And they threw him in a big situation. I mean, he gave up a 2-run home run, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it happens. Yeah, and you would think in Dodger Stadium the Dodgers are going to get more than 2. And it's unfortunate that they didn't give him any run support last night because he threw great. And you're right. I mean, I love the dude. I love that he's a Dodger.
Absolutely. One thing that showed a lot of maturity to me was that you talk about the lack of run support. Sometimes that can affect a young guy because you're all results based. You're like, I need to win or I need this. And so you start pitching to the scoreboard. Landon Knack didn't do that. He didn't care whether the Dodgers were scoring runs or not. He threw his game. He stayed with the inside of his box, and because of that, he did a great job for his team.
Yeah, what did he throw? 85 pitches last night?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty doggone good. In Dodger Stadium with a lot of pressure, and he threw 85 really good balls except for 1 home run. So I think that's a lot of thing to be positive about, and I like that it's going to make that this Dodgers have to make a decision. He's making them have to make a decision now. It's not he didn't throw well tonight, let's send him back to OKC. I like this. I like that he's having to make tough decisions for them now because he's shown he's ready.
It seems like he is behind the 8 ball in the Dodgers system for this fact alone. The Dodgers fans and the Dodgers organization themselves, they love the stuff plus. They love the 117-mile-an-hour fastballs. They love the spin rates of 2,600. They love the shock and awe type pitchers, if you will. Landon Knack is not that. So it just seems like he kind of gets put on the back burner just because of the style of pitcher he is. Am I off there?
No, because if you look at all the people that talk about the Dodgers, all they're talking about is velo.
Yes, right.
And which now that you bring this up, this new thing that came out that Alex Freeman is going to top to bottom evaluation is what he wants to do in the offseason. So that to me right there is interesting that the Dodgers now, for that to even be mentioned, I've seen this now on a bunch of different very reliable things on the social media stuff. That tells me that the velo might not be working for the Dodgers. They're getting, it's too many injuries. It's something is going on, and
something has to change.
Yeah, and it
was like when the Dodgers lost in the postseason last year. I don't know what it is, but something has to change.
Yeah, so Dodger fans, velo's great and all. I mean, it'll be nice to have a guy that throws 105 every now and then, but like something like it's too many injuries to me. All of these guys have been. I mean, you look at it, it's just a laundry list of our starting pitching or pitchers in our organization that are hurt, Casey.
No doubt.
And if they were healthy, look at the guys that we have. I mean, this could be one of the greatest pitching staffs in a long time, but they're all hurt. And if we're going to talk about anything, Glasnow, Yamamoto, all these guys, are they even going to be ready for the playoffs? And right now, one of our studs, Stone, I don't know. In case you and I know this really well, the Dodgers hide things really well.
They do. They're secretive.
And you know, the David Vassay, I'm trying to find it right. David Vassay put an interesting quote out there. I don't know if you saw this. My buddy Izzy and I were talking about it the other morning. He said, this is just so much unknown around it. And that is so Dodgers. The unknown. Glasnow keeps getting pushed back. He's going to do a bullpen session. Dodgers are really good at that. This is concerning to me about Gavin Stone.
You know what concerns me about the arm issue deal is an off-season topic that we'll get into on one of our live shows. No doubt we're not going to get into those weeds too heavy. But the thing about it is, I'm like, okay, well, the Dodgers are too old. They need to get younger. Well, no, Nick Frasso's hurt. Kyle hurt. Gavin Stone's been on the IL. River, right? Okay, so it's not a youth versus experience thing. Okay, well, it's because of all the high riding forcing. Well, Gavin Stone's on the IL. Landon Knack, who we just mentioned, is all about execution, not necessarily velo. He has been on the IL as much as any other pitcher. So it's like every style, every age. So, I mean, if you're Andrew Freeman right now, literally, they've tried giving guys off. They've tried 6 days rest. They've tried everything they can. They've tried piggybacks. Literally in the minor leagues, you see it, Coach. They've tried every type of scenario to keep people healthy, and it just simply hasn't worked. So I can tell you right now, when he's given that interview, it's a tough interview for him because he has no answers. He has no idea what is happening and why it's happening. And he can't because nobody does.
Yeah, and again, that was one of the things. I mean, there was the Stone, T.O., and then that thing that came out right there that they are wanting to look at it from top to bottom made me think they just don't say that stuff. There is something to it, and that is not concerning, but it's interesting that they are going to want to look at that because you're right. It's everybody in the organization. It's not just the Dodger, like the starters in the Dodger. Yeah. It's everybody, and I think something needs to be looked at. And we talked about it on Wednesday night. The Dodgers have the resources, so if the Dodgers are going to do this, that's exciting to me. But it's a bummer that we have to get to this point.
Okay, let's get back to last night's game, Coach, before we move on today. Jack Flaherty, he's going to do what the Dodgers brought him over to do, and that is to take the ball and end a 2-game losing streak. Yep. That's what ace-type pitchers are supposed to do, like Jack Flaherty has been for the Dodgers. But wanted to say, hey, we talk about the Dodgers are winning 81% of their games where they score first. Well, MookieBetts gets the double in the first inning, and then FreddieFreeman has, quite frankly, I love FreddieFreeman. He's a Hall of Famer. But he just had a bad at bat. I mean, it happens. It just was not a good at bat from FreddieFreeman. And so kind of on the opposite, when you get some momentum and you score early and you score first, that gives you the momentum and you win 81% of the time. But on the opposite of that, it feels like, okay, man, one of our dudes just doubled. Here comes Freddie. We got Will. We got all these guys. We're getting ready to score and take the lead. We win 81%. Nope. And then you don't score. It just kind of felt like that was just the kind of air went out of when he didn't score in that first inning. And then when T.O. got hurt, it was like a double whammy. It was like a balloon popped.
And that's why I think there's so much people wanting them to re-sign him and spend the money on him. And if that guy, if that creates that much of a downer, that tells you what he's done this year. He's a Dodger, and people love this guy. And you're right. I mean, again, yesterday morning, my buddy Izzy and I were talking about this. We talked about the playoffs last year, and we all talk about the game that Kershaw was, but where were our studs didn't hit. And if there's anything, what it concerns me going into the playoffs, the starting pitching, and if we could get our guys to hit, the Dodgers are going to win. We're 84-57 with makeshift lineups and pitching staffs the whole year, and yet we're 84-57 and up 4 games. But if the playoffs come around and we don't hit, it doesn't matter if Joe Torre or you and I are the manager.
Yeah, right.
The guys have to hit.
They do.
And Freddie did. Yeah, we all love Freddie. There's nothing negative to say about him, but one bad at bat, and the whole stadium deflated, and that's scary to me.
That kind of how it felt to me. I mean, I could be being too dramatic there, but hey, let's fast forward to the Chris Taylor situation. Of course, he was in because Teo got hurt. And look, I'll say this, and we're gonna tackle this whether he should have been pinch hit for or not. But to make some of the comments I get are, well, he shouldn't be on the team. Okay, that's fine if you think that. We should have kept Ahmed Rosario, or we should have kept Jason Hayward. Fine. That's not a conversation we're going to get into right now. But I will say that's an entirely separate conversation than what Dave Roberts had available to him at the moment last night when he chose to hit Chris Taylor. Okay, so Chris Taylor, I know he hits into the double play, which sucks. I know that it ended the inning. That sucks even worse. And it was an inning where the Dodgers were down just 1, and you're trying to get back. All of that part of it sucked. The results part of it sucked. But he hit the ball 104 miles an hour, Coach. Okay, the average exit velo of a major league hit is 89. Okay, the batting average on batted balls that are 104 is close to 600. So Chris Taylor hit a ball that almost 60% of the time is a game winner for the Dodgers last night. So here, and if you just say, well, you should have brought in Andy Paez. Okay, we'll go back to June 1st. This comes from Dodger Blue, which they do great work. And so I'm not even going to do the research because if Dodger Blue put it out, then it's a fact. Okay, since June 1st, Chris Taylor has been better against right-handers than Andy Paez. So from a statistical perspective, it was anywhere from the best move because he hit a 104-mile-an-hour ball to the only move that Dave Roberts really had, because you can't pinch hit Boston Barnes and lose your backup catcher with the way health is going, in my opinion.
This is the Dave Roberts dilemma, because if if CT hits it into the gap, we're talking about something different this morning.
Sure.
And CT hit in the double play, and maybe it's just me and my love of Chris Taylor, but I said, wow, that was pretty hard hit. He was right on the money. That goes just a little bit one way or the other. We're going nuts. But he hits into the double play, and I just went, doggone bummer. I never thought we should pinch hit for him. He's a very good defender in left field. You can put him anywhere, and he takes care of business. He hit into a double play. It's baseball. We had the bases loaded. But doggone, FreddieFreeman had a chance to drive and run. Ohtani didn't have good at bats.
Great point, Coach. Great point. Preach.
We Gavin Lux, who, if there's anybody out there that supports this dude, it's me. And you can go back and find the film of it.
I've supported him pretty good.
Yeah, so it's like Gavin didn't have good at bats.
No,
but because there was a bases loaded in a big moment, and Chris Taylor hit 104 miles off the bat. Now we want to say Chris Taylor shouldn't be on the team. That's just so typical of us as Dodger fans. We're so after the moment.
Or roast Dave for it. How do you roast a guy who kept a guy in who hit a 104-mile-an-hour ball, 15 miles an hour above league average, and a ball that has almost a 600 batting average? Yeah. How do you roast a manager for making a decision that had that outcome to it?
Because it's Dodger fans, and that's just how we are. And that's what I've learned to live with over the years with the Dave Roberts thing. Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and if there's anybody watching this and they think I'm crazy, I no. If we put Paez in and he struck out, well, why did we put in the young guy? He's been in Oklahoma City the last month. That's just how it's going to be. But that's, you know what? That comes with being the Dodgers manager. It's going to be a
Sure
very, very
great point, Coach. Great point.
You're the Los Angeles Dodgers, and we expect World Series. We expect Chris Taylor to hit into the gap there to drive those runs in. That's the bottom line. So
bottom line.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
If you don't want that scrutiny, if you don't want that type of criticism coming your way, then go manage the Pirates, right? Something like that, where they're out of the. Well, yeah, the Angels. Yeah, no doubt about that. But I'll just say this, okay? Dave Roberts got ripped for being too analytical the other day, or not analytical enough. He went away from it with the Kopech and the Evan Phillips deal, and now he's actually going with the numbers because, I mean, if you just look at all the statistical breakdowns as far as who was the best, gave you the best odds there. Andy Pages, again, Chris Taylor's been better than him against righties since June 1st. The odds of Andy Pages, first of all, pinch hitting, Coach, pinch hitters themselves hit like a little bit over 100 because it's a really hard thing to do. Pinch hitting is very hard to do, especially when you're a rookie trying to earn your chops. And then also the right-handed deal with Andy Pages hasn't been great, right? And so the odds of Andy Pages coming in there and hitting a ball at least 104 miles an hour or more were so low that it just, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, Case, baseball is different now. I don't know. Maybe some people will get the reference, but we don't have Manny Motas that just sit there, or Darryl Russell or Mickey Hatchers of the world that just sit there as professional pinch hitters. That's not today's day and age. I thought CT3 was the best choice there. Pages, it would have been awesome if Pages came up and delivered. That would have been a great rookie moment for him.
It would have been.
I love Pages. You do too. But it was the right move. Chris Taylor's been there before. It's just frustrating. It's like we can't have everything. We just can't. I don't know. It was a tough situation. I wanted to see him succeed there and drive that thing in the gap, but it didn't happen.
Yeah. I'll say this. We have the tough conversations about Dave Roberts, like whenever he pinch hit for Max Muncy the other night. I mean, dude, what are we doing, right? I mean, whenever we think, at least, and everybody has their opinion, that's the beautiful thing about America, is we all have our opinion, we all get to express it, and we do it. Whenever we think, Coach Barakoff, Coach Porter, when we think that there's something that Dave did wrong or something else he should have done, we have no problems whatsoever bringing that up and having a conversation about that. So we're not just pumping sunshine, just every single time about him. This is truly how we feel as coaches in a high leverage situation, as far as we got to win these games because it's come down the stretch. We got to give our team the best chance to win. But Coach, as we move on, what do you expect from Jack Flaherty tonight?
Okay, first off, I was against the Muncy move, so I want everybody to understand I'm a big-time Dave Roberts guy, but I didn't like that move. Jack Flaherty, this is what we brought him here, to eat some innings, save the bullpen, and to get a win tonight. He needs to have that bounce-back game like Kershaw always does. Kershaw's always the losing streak ender.
Yes.
Flaherty needs to do that. He's pitching in his hometown. He loves to be a Dodger right now. He needs to come in and pump out 7 great innings. And Dodgers need to hit, and I think Dodgers take this game, and then we move on. And I think that's what Flaherty's going to do. That's what I expect from him. That's why they brought him here. This is his year. You look back at his numbers, he's not been spectacular. He is this year, and they need to ride this, and Flaherty needs to come on and end this 2-game and put some pressure on the Padres and the D-backs. So that's what I think is going to happen.
100%. I could not add to that, Coach. That was absolutely perfectly put. So, hey, those are our final thoughts for today. I want to remind you, we have about a 20-minute down the farm, 25 minutes, something like that. And it is jam-packed. I mean, we've got walk-offs from Cameron Decker. We've got Zaire Hope. We've got Edgardo Henriquez. We've got Alec Gamboa with his great start last night. We've got Cody Hosey. We've got Damon Keith and his absolute bomb that he hit the other day. We've got some guys you maybe never have heard of, like Christian Zazueta, that you want to hear about. We've got the Maytag Jack Dreyer and his great work in Oklahoma City. So, hey, the Down the Farm segment is absolutely cram-packed. So, Coach, thanks for joining.
All right, guys.
Let's not waste more time. Let's get right to it. Let's take a trip down on the farm. Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. We're going to start our coverage as we do each and every time at Single A Rancho Cucamonga. And hey, the Quakes gave it their all, no doubt about it. You're seeing Cameron Decker right here with a triple. They had to win every game this week to make the playoffs. And they had some dramatics. You're going to see right here, walk-off from Cameron Decker after the triple. Cameron Decker is a young man that has had a 10 RBI night. And I'll tell you what, when he hits a home run, it absolutely stays hit. There is nobody that can hit more impressive home runs than Cameron Decker can. And that one there, which was Thursday night, walked off the Visalia Rawhide. And the thing about it is the Quakes had a 3-run lead in the top of the ninth. They gave up 3 runs. And so the Rawhide had tied it. And then Zaire Hope got a base hit at the beginning of the inning. And then Cameron Decker walked it off. So it was super exciting. You know, Decker's been that guy that finally back from injury this year, finally got, a runway to where he could get some consistent playing time, and he definitely has shown exactly what he is capable of doing since he's been back with the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, and so has this young man right here. One of my favorite young hitters. Second time in the last, probably week where he's just rung. I mean, it's really rung a opposite field double off the boards, and I really like that hit. They just staying behind the baseball, letting it get deep, a good 2-strike approach there, and just serving one back up the middle. So Zaire Hope's having a great year, 292 on the season, OPS 914. Those 2 hits there to me were very impressive because it shows his power, and then it shows also his ability just to kind of be a good hitter too, or a great hitter, if you will. So a lot of ability for Zaire Hope. And then on the pitching side, the night was stolen by this young man, Christian Zazueta. Very excited about him. If you remember in the offseason, Zazueta was part of the Caleb Ferguson deal that brought Zazueta over here, sent Caleb Ferguson to the Yankees. On Thursday night, he threw 5 innings, gave up just 1 hit, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. So when Zazueta came over to the Dodgers, it was a process. He struggled quite a bit early on. It was one of those deals to where the Dodgers, Rob Hill, Sean Coyne, Ramon Troncoso, they saw what they wanted to see in this guy, although the results were, kind of up and down to begin the season. They continue to work, and because of that, I'll tell you what, he has really, really flourished here down the stretch. He's definitely known to be a gamer. This comes directly from his pitching coach, Sean Coyne, definitely known to be a gamer. And then also very high baseball IQ. He's going to sit mid to low. He's going to sit about low to mid 90s with the fastball, and he also has a changeup and slider that have both grown into good pitches. His release metrics, meaning the extension and all of that, are solid as well. So there's a lot to like here with Christian Zazueta, who again had a really nice outing on Thursday. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 run, 4 strikeouts, just 2 walks, and he has been really, really good down the stretch for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, who, by the way, did win last night in a game that was kind of a clunker, so there wasn't really a whole lot of action to cover from Friday night's game, but there was a lot from Thursday night's game, so it's been a good season for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, and congratulations to them for continuing to fight all the way down the stretch, basically almost to the last game of the season. So, hey, let's move our way up now to the high A level, the high A Great Lakes Loons, and who you're seeing right here is one of my favorites in Kyle Nevin. Now, why do I like Kyle Nevin? Because he can hit the ball up the middle. We definitely know that. Kyle Nevin does as good of a job as anybody hitting the ball up the middle. But I'll tell you another thing that he does really well. Here it is actually from Thursday night. Look at that. That is a massive home run. So, yes, he does inside out the ball to right field a lot, maybe up the middle, which you're going to see here in a minute with 2 strikes. But make no mistake about it. He can stay behind the ball, he can turn on the ball, and he can hit the ball a long way. So, hey, stats are what they are. At the high A level, it is what it is. But I'll tell you, here's what I'm really most excited about with him. Obviously, he's very long. He does have a good understanding of the strike zone. He has every tool in his tool bag. See that right there with 2 strikes? Notice the count, 2 strikes. He can hit with 2 strikes. He can shorten up, put the ball in play when he needs. He can hit massive home runs. And so I just think as Kyle Nevin continues to advance levels, what's going to happen to him is that the scouting reports are going to become more accurate. And the reason that it's not because the coaching necessarily gets any better or any of that. I mean, Dave Anderson and Dylan the Shotgun, all these guys in the minor leagues, and Richard De Los Santos, Ramon Chacroso, Sean Coyne, all these guys are just, Big O, who's the hitting coach there with the Great Lakes Loons. All of those guys are just tremendous coaches. So it's not going to be about the coaching. What happens is as you advance levels, track records get longer for all the players that you're competing against. And when track records get longer, then it becomes more accurate as to what exactly your opponent is and has been. And so you can predict more accurately what to expect from them. So the scouting reports will get more accurate for Kyle Nevin. I really think that part of it, that will make his swing decisions a lot more clear. Like in high A Great Lakes, hey, this guy has a fastball, he throws here, he has a changeup, he throws there. Then all of a sudden you go out and it's like the exact opposite because he's in high A for a reason, because he's not executing. Well, as you move up the ladder, you're going to see it on the scouting report, and then you're also going to see it in a game. So there's going to be a lot more predictability to it. And because of that, I think that will help Kyle Nevin define his swing decisions. And when he is making good swing decisions, I think he has the chance to be a very high-level major league hitter for a long, long time. I am that high on his toolback. I'm that high on his IQ. So we'll see how this goes as things go along. But I wanted to show you Kyle Nevin and his ability to shorten up and hit balls with 2 strikes, but then also, turn on a ball and hit the ball a really, really long ways. Another young man who has been absolutely smoking. Look at that ball. Look at the curve on that ball. I'm going to back that up. Now watch how hard he hit. Now watch the curve on this ball. Look at that ball. Head into right center. That is just massive exit velos, especially for a 19-year-old. And because of that, hustling out of the box. Love that from ShoheiOhtani, man. Hey, he has really turned on his game here in the last month. I am not going to lie about it. This is easily the most excited that I have been about ShoheiOhtani. I know he's had a lot of hype and all this. This is easily the most excited I have been since he has gone to Great Lakes. For one, it's the swing decisions. It's the understanding of the strike zone. Those are fantastic. Obviously, the exit velos and all of that, but the hustling doubles and, just the team camaraderie part of it. It's been a lot of fun to watch ShoheiOhtani on a Great Lakes Loons that, quite frankly, have had some ups and downs. So, hey, he was in the 2-hole the other night. This is Thursday night, and had that hustling double. Had a really good night. DePaula has his average all the way up to 266. His OPS is 807. Overall in the year between 2 levels, that's between both Rancho and Great Lakes. He's hitting 500 so far in September. He has hits in 4 games in a row, 6 of his last 7, and he has 2 3-hit games so far this month. So it's hard to teach a lot of the things that ShoheiOhtani does. No doubt about that. When you talk about as hard as he can hit the ball, when you talk about the confidence that he plays the game with, those are all things that are very difficult to teach that he already has as a 19-year-old. So that obviously is super exciting. Talk about exciting. I've talked about him several different times. Dylan Campbell, who did end up hitting 10 home runs, which, hey, yeah, whatever. This is a guy, though, that has 42 stolen bases to match the 10 home runs. I think when he gets away from the Midwest League, it's very tough to hit. Like Friday night, it was 60s and raining and windy and that kind of thing. It's a tough league to hit in. So the 10 home runs, okay, yeah, it's not terrible or anything. I think he's capable of quite a bit more. 42 stolen bases, fantastic. 255 batting average. Again, it's the Midwest League. I think that can spike. This is a guy that is a high-level, high-Q, versatile type player that I think can hit on any given year upwards of 20 home runs. He can steal 50, maybe, in the 50 bases type range as he moves up. Now at the major league level, who knows? This is a guy that I've seen play shortstop. I've seen him play second base. I've seen him bunt for a base hit, go out and make a diving catch in right field, then play second base, then hit a home run. I've seen him do all those things in a single game. So if you follow Dodgers Daily much at all this year, you know how high I am on Dylan Campbell. I've had a chance to see him with my own eyes on many different occasions when he was at the University of Texas, and I got to see him watch my beloved Oklahoma State Cowboys, and he is very, very good. Hey, how about Peyton Martin? Super exciting. I was communicating with him about a month ago. He said, hey, man, we're working on a whole bunch of stuff. It's been a little bit of a process, but, hey, it's feeling really good right now. How about 3 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 strikeout, and no walks? ERA, how about this? In August was 1.72. Last night was a great way to, Thursday night was a great way to finish. Obviously, the 3 innings, that is an innings limit total that the organization has put on him because they love the fact that he's still a really, really young man. I believe he's still 19 years old. Don't quote me on that. I've not, the ages sometimes run together, but he came straight out of high school, and so I think he's 19. Again, very, very young and very, very talented. So the Dodgers, for a certain extent, are going to handle him with kid gloves, no doubt about that. And so the 3 innings and a really nice outing, a really nice start to finish the season for Peyton Martin. We'll see if he goes to Instructs after that. And then a young man, reminds me kind of the Jack Dreyer art from last year that just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's like, oh my God, who is this guy? Garrett McDaniels. Garrett McDaniels, the young man, is not going to want 2024 to end. I love that high leg kick. I love that crossfire. I love the way he hides the ball. 2 scoreless innings Thursday night. How about this for Garrett McDaniels? He is not allowed a run in his last 8 outings. Garrett McDaniels is not allowed a run in 14 of his last 15. And by the way, on Thursday night, he got his 5th win of the year. He had 3 strikeouts and no walks. So it was super exciting, and it's been super exciting to watch Garrett McDaniels just really, really just kind of just bust onto the scene in the Dodgers minor league system. You will be hearing a lot more about him next year, and you're talking about a guy that you're going to hear a lot about in 2025. This dude, Michael Martinez, has been an absolute force in, look at that slider. That is just an awesome pitch. In the Great Lakes Loons bullpen, that is a fastball there. You saw it 95. He can't approach 100 with it. I'm telling you right now, put Michael Martinez in your Rolodex. This guy he just is really fun to watch, and he is really good. He has an intimidating factor. He loves the high leverage moments, and his stuff is great. You can see the excitement there. ERA for Michael Martinez, 2.01 on the season. And to put things into perspective as just how dominant he's been, try this one on for size. Michael Martinez has allowed just 4 earned runs since the beginning of May. Wow. That is simply incredible. Again, put Michael Martinez in your Rolodex. There is absolutely no doubt about that because he has all of the stuff that you're looking for in a high leverage reliever. I will be excited. I would imagine that he will get started in Double A Tulsa next year. So super excited to get my own eyes on Michael Martinez and get things going for him next year. Be fun to watch him. So, hey, moving up to the Double A level, it has been a tough year for the Double A Tulsa Drillers. I mentioned that on our show the other day. There is absolutely no doubt about that. But it's been a really good year for Damon Keith ever since he got back from the hamate injury. He's been able to put up 290 at-bats, and so probably going to get over 300 at-bats for his season. He's averaging, as you're seeing right here, a home run every 18 at-bats, which is really good. Say it all the time with Damon Keith, one of the most talented players in the entire game. There are very few athletes that have more tools than Damon Keith. He's one of the fastest players in the organization in terms of foot speed. He's also one of the strongest. He has a good arm. He is a great athlete with, a world of potential. So with Damon Keith, it's going to come down to, can he tame the strikeouts? It's going to be as simple as that. It is James Outman all over again. If he can get his strikeout rate down to 25%, of which right now Damon Keith's strikeout percentage is at 29%, which at the moment is okay, because you would like to see that come down to 25%. But if you look at his ISO and his K percentage, of which Austin and I talk about this all the time, as long as your K percentage and ISO are in the same ballpark, then your trade-off between power and striking out is a positive one. So yes, the ISO for Damon Keith is lower because 29% is kind of high as far as a strikeout rate, but the ISO is in the ballpark. So I think you can definitely live with the fact that you're getting one home run every 18 at bats as far as compared to the strikeout rate this year. So that's going to be interesting to see how that that ratio, if you will, works out as things move on. Nobody believes in the talent more than Damon Keith, and it's always super exciting whenever you see him hit a massive home run like that. Had a couple of walk-offs earlier this year that were a lot of fun to follow. And he talked about another guy that has just been absolutely just nails for Double-A Tulsa. He's been there a while, man. Antonio Knowles, I really hope, the AAA season lasts longer than the Double-A season. I hope when Double-A Tulsa finishes, instead of sending him back home to Key West for his offseason, I hope they send Antonio Knowles, the Conconator, to AAA Oklahoma City to help that roster, because he has absolutely 100% deserved it. Hey, and I'll tell you what, he struck out 2 hitters and got a ground ball in 7 pitches. So that's the minimum amount of pitches to have 2 strikeouts and just a regular put out with the ball in play. You can't do that in fewer than 7 pitches. So they need a name for that, like the immaculately efficient inning or something like that, because that is immaculately efficient. 7 pitches to record 2 strikeouts and a put out. Hey, Antonio Knowles, ERA 3.27. He's gone scoreless in 6 of his last 7 outings. His whip is 122. His average against is just 188, and he has 57 strikeouts in 52.1 innings. There is absolutely not anything at all that Antonio Knowles has not done very, very well for the Double-A Tulsa Drillers. And as I said earlier, I hope he gets rewarded with that. With a trip to Oklahoma City to finish this season, we shall wait and see. Another young man that has done just a wonderful job out of the bullpen for the Double-A Tulsa Drillers. There's that smaller breaking ball, and there's a bigger one there for Michael Hobbs. Scoreless inning for Michael Hobbs on Tuesday. ERA down to 3.71, and Hobbsy now has thrown 5 scoreless outings in a row to continue. Like I said, he's been very consistent, and he has been very good. As an example of how good Michael Hobbs has been, he has 29 scoreless outings this year, but yet has allowed more than 1 run just 6 times. So, he's thrown up a lot of zeros without having, so it's like one thing, like you have these relievers where you see them put up 1,000,000 zeros, but then every time that they do give up a run, they give up like 3 or 4. Not Michael Hobbs. Michael Hobbs is good at putting up zeros, but then also minimizing the outings to where he doesn't give up a 0. And I think that's just as important as being dominant when everything is on. So Michael Hobbs has done a good job on all fronts as far as that goes. And I know, hey, with the Teoscar Hernandez news last night, very tough news, getting hit on the foot. I know the buzz is Dalton Rushing. Keep in mind, Dalton Rushing just started playing left field. Hey, whatever the Dodgers choose, we're like Coach Barracoff says all the time, they put on the Dodgers uniform, we're going to root for them like hell, and we're going to get behind them, and we're going to be the best fans we can be to make them the best players they can be. And hey, nobody likes Dalton Rushing more than me. I've said him and Edgardo Henriquez are probably my 2 most untouchable players. But if it was up to me, and it's not, and nobody will ever ask, and nobody gives a rat's ass what Casey Porter at Dodgers Daily thinks in the Dodgers front office. I promise you that. But if it were up to me, this is the guy that would be getting brought up for the Dodgers. Ryan Ward. In my opinion, for my money, Ryan Ward has been the best offensive player in the Dodgers minor league system this year. The dude has 30 home runs. He's hitting 266, and he has been he's been good, and he has been consistent. So yes, hey, if they call up DaltonRushing, I'm going to celebrate because I love DaltonRushing. He is a great young player, and hey, let's get this thing started. No doubt about that. But I will say, I think the guy who's deserved it the most in terms of being good and also putting his time in would be Ryan Ward. And I'll tell you another guy that I really hope gets his opportunity is Cody Hosey. 2 more hits for Cody Hosey. Last night, 291 batting average, OPS 863. He hit 333 in August. He's hitting the same 333 so far this month. So it has been a really, really nice year for bounce back year for Cody Hosey. And it's just been a whole lot of fun to watch because I know it's been a very frustrating period trying to get healthy. And then once you are healthy, trying to get back on top of your game. So congrats to Cody Hosey. And then Edgardo Henriquez. Lot of buzz about him. Wait, hey, why not bring him up? Coach Barikoff has mentioned a couple of times that, hey, he needs this AAA time, and I agree with Coach Barikoff. Here's what's going to happen. Okay, so in AAA, he's going to see lots and lots and lots of guys that have lots and lots of major league at-bats. And so he's going to see major league hitters that aren't going to be overpowered and overmatched by his fastball. So what those guys that have, like right there, you take that pitch. That might be a ball at the major league level. These guys are going to make him throw it over the plate. They're not going to be overpowered. And because of that, they're going to force Edgardo Henriquez not to just be a raw talent and just to throw it 700 miles an hour and kind of bully hitters, if you will. They're going to force him to have to learn how to execute his sequences and do it over and over and over to get AAA hitters out. So just my opinion, and hey, like I said with DaltonRushing, if they call up Edgardo Henriquez tomorrow, I will celebrate and I will root like hell for the young man because he is just simply fantastic. But I do think he needs this transition time in AAA to face these major league hitters that he's going to face there and to learn how to execute and sequence over and over and over. Because you got to remember, man, he started this year in Single A, Rancho Cucamonga. So he's gone from Rancho to Great Lakes to Tulsa to Oklahoma City. That's insanely difficult to do to begin with. But whenever you do it coming off of Tommy John, that adds just layers and layers and layers of difficulty to that process. So, hey, all I ask is be patient with Edgardo Henriquez in terms of the way that the organization is handling him. Trust that the organization, they know how good he is. They will take care of this young man. Trust the decision they make with him and whatever speed it is that they take to get him to the major leagues. So, hey, another guy that you need to know about in AAA Oklahoma City, the Maytag. The Maytag has simply been fantastic this year. And of course, the Maytag is Jack Dreyer. Jack Dreyer has had just an absolutely fantastic year again. How about this? Another 0 for Maytag on Thursday night, 35 35th scoreless outing of this year for Jack Dreyer. Jack Dreyer's ERA is 161 across AA and AAA. His ERA is 227 at AAA. At AAA, WHIP 101, average against just 221, 44 Ks, 35.2 innings. So it doesn't really matter what level you throw him at. Jack Dreyer just continues to be simply fantastic. This is a guy, along with Edgardo Henriquez, they both need to be at the front of your Rolodex because they are really, really good. And they have, in Jack Dreyer's situation, now going all the way back to last year, also has been extremely consistent. And then the guy that we're going to end up on tonight, my man, Alec Gamboa, they moved him back to a starter's role somewhere back in June, and it's been a good move for him. Remember, he's always been a starter. They moved him relief, him and John Rooney basically at the same time, and I just don't think the short stints of relief really work well with the wrestling mind frame of Alec Gamboa. I think Alec Gamboa needs the time to set up hitters. Like Coach Holt said the other day, hey, we're throwing this in the first inning to get that guy back in the third inning. And I just think he needs the breathing room to have more than one inning at a time. So last night, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts, just 2 walks. Alec Gamboa, ERA down to 3.30. Fastball last night for Gamby, 94.96, and his spin rate averaged over 2,300. I know that makes people cringe because of all the injuries. That's a topic for the other day, but as it is right now, that spin rate makes that ball look faster to hitters, and that's a good thing in terms of being effective when you face hitters. So how about this? So not only was his stuff good, he also pitched to soft contact. Average exit velocities last night for the Space Cowboys, the Sugarland Space Cowboys, the AAA affiliates of the Houston Astros, 78.9 on the fastball, 77.3 on the slider, 67.4 on the changeup. So Alec Gamboa was good, 94-96, and then also pitched to weak contact, and he is another guy I've said many different times. I hope the Dodgers do right by him and give him his shot.